on the show, we mention certain things very often, and I could think of many of those off the top of my head that are all open source, because I think that's probably the more standard case. So like TensorFlow, PyTorch, Docker, Spacey, Kubernetes itself. What else? A lot of these things are all open source, right?
They are. I mean, the software of artificial intelligence is largely built on open source. And, people end up paying for hardware or services for hardware.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the divvy is. You budget for the hardware or the services to gain access to compute.
Yeah, and maybe we should clarify as well what we mean by open source. Maybe people are more familiar with that term or not familiar, and there is some confusing things around it. Actually, maybe one of the confusing things is open source doesn't necessarily mean free either. So I guess my background isn't in computer science, software engineering, so I'll probably have some like computer science people get mad at me. There's like a proper definition, but I mean, open source, I think mainly its etymology derives from the fact that like you can see all the code that is there. The code is available for you to obtain and or modify, use. So like with TensorFlow, for example, you can go to GitHub